Hey everybody, welcome to the 1804 Show, Chapter 2. I'm your host, Dollar Will, and this is another episode of 1804 History. And before I start, like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the 1804 Show, Chapter 2, and hit the bell for future notifications. And tonight, a lot of people don't know, but at midnight, make the 28th year um, situation, assassination attempt of rapper Tupac Shakur at Quad Studios in New York City, Times Square. But it's just crazy because me and his brother talked about this and stuff like that on our episode. Make sure y'all watch it. It's on the channel. But it's just so many different versions of the story. But I'm going to just go with what Pac said because Pac was there from beginning to the end. But what really happened was like he was ambushed. He was set up to be robbed. Everybody knows the names and stuff like that. So I'm not snitching. It's all documented and stuff. But he get a call after recording with legendary DJ Ron G. So he get a call from Jimmy Henchman. Well, Jimmy Roseman. He get a call from him saying that he had to do a track for Little Sean. And he said, I ain't doing it unless y'all pay me. So they kept on like hanging up on him and he kept on being agitated. So he was just cussing them out. Because one thing about Pac was the fact that he wasn't scared. He wasn't scared of the um, New York gangsters and stuff like that. Excuse me. So they finally pretty much called him back and said, like, Uptown Records is going to cover your studio fee, your feature fee. And he's like, all right, I'm on my way. So while he getting these phone calls and they keep asking him, oh, where you at, man? You still coming? He's like, yeah, I'm in the cab. So I'll be there in a few minutes. So they just kept on paging him, kept on, was like, where you at? So he gets there. He meet up with three other people, Stretch, which it was his best friend from Live Squad, and Zay, who was also then his sister at the time, and his homeboy Freddie Nichols Moore. So as soon as they about to reach the entrance, they see Lil C's, and Lil C's was like, "Hey man, come up here, man, Biggie up here recording." He said, "All right, I'll be up there." So they get into the entrance. They see one guy in an army fatigue jacket outside smoking a cigarette. Didn't really acknowledge him. So then he was like, all right, whatever. And then he see another guy as soon as he get buzzed into the studio. Because it was like an entrance where like it's a desk as soon as you walk into the quad. And he also see another guy that's reading a newspaper, not even acknowledge him. So his suspicions was very high because he's a celebrity, so just not to get acknowledged, which is one of those things like, okay, something ain't right here. But he been smoking and stuff, so he just was very anxious to get up there and record. So they go to the elevator, and as soon as that elevator come down to the first floor, that's when the robbers came and ordered everybody to the floor. And he just, stood there like in shock or whatever. So they had the guns pointed on everybody. So all his friends dropped to the floor immediately, and he's the only one standing. So the robber came straight to him because everybody knew that he was strapped and everything because he had two double Glocks on him. So they knew that he was strapped. So they over there frisking him. So then he, telling everybody like, what I'm saying, I'm not giving up my shit because it was supposed to have been a robbery. That's why he knew that it was all a setup because he been telling these dudes who ordered him to be robbed, like, y'all can do what you want, but I'm not giving back y'all ring and stuff like that. Because they had got him this ring, this diamond ring, that was worth like $30,000 because he was trying to really work with them at first because he wasn't getting paid. He wasn't getting all his money from his music. So he got with them because of the fact that they promised him like, well, we would get your money from Interscope and stuff like that. So once he realized that, I'm going to live out my contract with Interscope, hopefully like they can reinside me with more money. So he decided that he didn't want to work with these guys anymore. So then they threatened him and said like, um, you know, I'm a real gangster, but you a studio gangster. So then Pac was like, well, if I'm a studio gangster, then you a groupie. And then the guys was like, well, I'm gonna show you groupie. I show you groupie. So he was just knew it was a matter of time that they came and rushed him. So that's why he had the two double Glocks on him, just in case they try to come at him, which they did this night. So as soon as they start frisking him, um they noticed that he had a gun. So as soon as they saw the gun, that's when he hurry up and try to like take the gun from the guy that was pointing at him. Then one shot went off in his leg. So he immediately falls to the floor, and then they began pistol whipping him, and then they shot him point blank range in the head twice. So then as soon as Pac gun went off, that's when the bullet hit his friend Nichols in the stomach. The gunshot that went to his groin. So he was shot twice in the head, twice in the groin area, and then he got shot in the hand. Went through the hand and it hit his thigh, an artery in his thigh. So, excuse me. So, so he like unconscious, you know what I'm saying? But he's like watching everybody else, like his friends. So none of his friends got shot. None of his friends got um treated the way he got treated. So a lot of stuff going through his head, like, you know what I'm saying? How come I'm the only one that got shot 5 times? While everybody else is like untouched, everybody else is unscathed, but I'm over here bleeding all over the place. And he just immediately like told himself like, I gotta get to the elevator. I gotta get upstairs because all this shit going on. I'm not even upstairs yet. So he gets upstairs and he see like everybody that was there. It was like at least 25 people like in the building. So he sees everybody up there and everybody look at him like he's a ghost. Like they was just shocked. And a lot of people say like maybe they was just shocked at the fact that he was shot or shocked at the fact that he was still alive type shit. But from my research, Biggie knew more than what he spoke of. So, because there's an interview saying that Biggie pretty much told what happened, and he was just talking about how he was an actor and how he was getting carried away with his situation, and that he owed him an apology and this and that. But also it said that um, Biggie had nothing to do with it or him getting shot. He didn't even know about it, but Puffy knew because of Jimmy Henchman was there. Pretty much everybody was there. Him, um, Andre Harrell, Lil Sean, a little bit everybody was there. Junior Mafia, they was all there. So he just, you know what I'm saying, get upstairs automatically. He like, man, what the fuck is going on, man? I get shot downstairs and I want my money and this and that. So then he didn't know that he got shot in the groin because he was going to go take a piss. Then he realized that he had gunpowder all over his lap and his thighs and his legs. It was bad. It was a bad situation. So then everybody like, you know what I'm saying, man, Pac, man, you need to sit down, man. You need to chill, man. You going crazy, man. So he told one of the dudes to call his mom and stuff like that. So then the guy that worked at the studio had told him like, look, the police downstairs, they coming up. Just thought I'd let y'all know that. So his sister boyfriend Zay and Lil Sean disposed of the weapon and stuff. And I hid it under a piano and stuff like that. So when the police came downstairs, nobody would get arrested. So they hid Pac's gun under the piano because he would have been charged for having two guns because he was already on trial for sexual abuse, not sexual assault. He didn't go to jail for rape, but he went to jail for sexual abuse and the weapons and all that stuff. But pretty much he just felt like it was a setup. If he felt like they was going to kill me type thing. And he went to the hospital at Bellevue Hospital and he was getting all these crazy phone calls. You know, as soon as he was able to get surgery and stuff like that, he had checked himself out of the hospital. And then he went to court the next day. And he was found guilty of sexual abuse and all that stuff. And was sentenced to 4.5 to 7 years in prison. But yeah, just knowing about this stuff and hearing about it, I could just tell like he had PTSD and stuff like that because he would have these nightmares. He couldn't sleep, so while he couldn't sleep, he was just always in the studio, just recording. Because once you shot and this and that, like that, you know what I'm saying, you never forget about it. And he just felt like he was betrayed. He was set up by the people closest to him. But like I said, like I'm not here to tarnish anybody's legacy or talk down on people, but I just going by what I read and what I researched and what I watched the entire day. But even Majesty said that they went to go visit Pac and they told him like, oh, Biggie had nothing to do with it and stuff like that. It didn't go down like that. And he was like, oh, well, I hope y'all don't get mad at me because I did this Vibe interview for the Vibe magazine. And this is what I said, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I can't go by what everybody else said because Pac ain't here to defend himself. But Pac, told the story through his own words so many times to the point where, like, you know what I'm saying, even if everybody else is telling the truth, it's kind of like, okay, I can only listen to what Pac said because it was like so many stories, so many versions of what happened. You know, they said he shot himself. They say he wasn't shot 5 times and this and that. But the doctors said something else, like in his affidavit and stuff like that. His medical report said that he was shot 5 times. So I can't, believe what anybody else say, like especially like the enemy. Because what I learned is that people who are like shysties and snakes and this and that, they have a whole bunch of people to vouch for their behavior. You know, to go from being shot 5 times to being one of the biggest rap stars of all time, like, and then go to jail for a crime that you didn't commit, that's phenomenal to me. And all this happened, like, a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he really was hurt by Biggie not being there for him. You know what I'm saying? Um, but it's just like a lot of people like to say, hit him up was just on some bullshit or whatever like that. But I know what it's like to be hurt. I know what it's like to be betrayed. You want revenge. I know what that's like. And he was very justified. And they took his jewelry, but they left a $20,000 Rolex. So that's when he knew that it was a setup. It wasn't no random robbery gone wrong. He knew that because Haitian Jack bought him that Rolex, and that's when he knew it was a hit because to send a message to him like, we could have um, just took your jewelry, but next time it could be worse because he was getting a whole bunch of phone calls and the hospital talking about, well, we ain't finish you off. You know what I'm saying? You still alive, but we coming back to finish you off. So that's why he had checked himself out the hospital. But I just look at it like people knew what really happened. People knew how it happened, but they couldn't say anything or they couldn't prevent it because of the fact that they was afraid of the street dudes. You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn and all that's really, grimy and shit. Niggas grimy in Brooklyn and stuff like that. And I'm not just saying that to disrespect anybody, but y'all know how y'all roll and stuff like that. I went to Brooklyn before, so yeah, but it just seemed like it was just more shady shit than anything because this happened in Times Square. So if you've been to New York before, Times Square never empty. It never closes. Cause I was in Times Square before. That place stayed lit all night. So something like that happened and nobody see anybody or see anything, that's when you know it was phony. That's when you know, like, it was more people involved because the cops that arrested him for the sexual assault case were the first ones at the shooting. And that's when he knew, like damn, like this is some real bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Somebody set me up and this and that. So, but yeah, it just, like I said, I can relate. I can understand. I know what it's like to be portrayed like that, especially by somebody who you thought was your friend, who was like a brother to you. Y'all did everything together, and he put you up on game. He was Biggie's protege, pretty much, and he just kind of felt like that he deserved better than that after put him on to things and giving him advice. He gave him his first shows, gave him just knowledge, gave him the Big Papa swag and this and that. But a lot of people just won't believe that the first Me Against the World, um, Are You Still Down If You Remember Me type, that was Ready to Die. You know what I'm saying? That was, it's just like Ready to Die, like similar to Ready to Die. You know, the album that came out, not Machiavelli, but the first Tupac album that came out when he died. Um, he had scrapped that album because Biggie Ready to Die sounded just like his. So he had to change it, and he made Me Against the World after that. Because he went to jail after that and watched Biggie become one of the biggest stars in New York. And he kind of felt like, how he's the king of New York. He was getting ready to sign with me, Thug Life and stuff. So he just kind of felt like, he was a imposter. He was an actor. But Biggie was going around telling people like, what I'm saying, hey, I told him to stay away from them dudes and he didn't listen to me, man. You know what I'm saying? He got caught up. But all I know is like this. If me and my friends out somewhere and they get robbed, you know what I'm saying? And I have the ability to try to stop it or try to do something about it, I'm gonna die for you. That's just how I am. But everybody ain't cut from that cloth. Everybody ain't that noble or honorable to try to save you from being shot or save you from being robbed. But I just kind of feel like, um, Pac was human. You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like he was right about a whole lot, and I feel like he was wrong about little. And the things I feel he was right about was just everybody um, who was there try to act like that they didn't know what happened, trying to act like they didn't know what was going on, but they did. But what he was wrong about was being mad at Biggie about it, because I kind of felt like at the time, he shot and this and that. He don't know who's telling the truth. He don't know what's going on, but they could say that he knew because his friends was like, they just wanted to rob you. Why you reach for a gun? And he was just like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't letting nobody take my shit. But everybody was scared of these dudes, these street dudes. But Pac wasn't going to let nobody rob him. You know what I'm saying? Pac was strapped all the time. Ever since he got into it with the police in Oakland, he got beat up pretty bad. So that's why I say like it was an assassination attempt, because the robbers was very sloppy. Now, if he would have got shot from far away, he would have died that night. But what saved him was the fact that they shot him close range, because he got shot on top of the head and the bullets um pierced his skin. They ain't pierced his skull. So luckily he survived that, but unfortunately he was going to die in the next shooting that happened. But he was fortunate that night, because um there's no telling what would have been happened if he would have died. And I just think like the Who Shot Ya by Biggie and stuff like that. Everybody can say that it wasn't about Pac, but they have a version or unreleased version of that song that never got released, but it's on YouTube. It's an unreleased version of Who Shot Ya, and they talking about Pac. And I don't care what nobody say. And I just think that was just like a marketing tool by Puff, and backfired, because they was expecting Pac to die that night, but he didn't die. You know what I'm saying? But just to be like 5'7", 150 pounds, and to be jumped like that, you know what I'm saying? Like that just shows a heart of a lion. Like, and he wasn't wrong for going about it the way he went about it, because it was just bad, you know what I'm saying? But They said that he was paranoid, and while he was resting at Jasmine Guy House and stuff like that, Stretch, his friend, came by and was giving him messages through his enemies. So that's when he became very suspicious of Stretch. And rest in peace to Randy Stretch Walker, even though like people said that he had nothing to do with it, but it's just kind of like, why are you giving me messages through my enemies and stuff like that. But it just was a very bad situation. It was a sad situation because he was never the same after that. Like, he still loved black people. He still wanted to help black people, but he just wasn't the same after that. Everything became about war, and he wanted to get his money right before he went to war with the dudes that shot him. So he knew um, what happened eventually, and they was finna make peace. Him and Biggie, they was finna talk it out, but it just never happened because Puffy was scared to go up to the meeting with Suge Knight. But they was finna um, eventually wrap it up because it wasn't like Pac hated Biggie. It was more like he wanted to spank him and stuff like that because he felt like Biggie still making subliminals and acting like he don't know what's going on. But a long kiss goodnight and play a hater and all that stuff. It was all about Pac. You know what I'm saying? Life after death was all about Pac, and people can say what they want to say. And I'm very qualified to talk about this as not only as a Tupac fan but as a hip hop fan. Like can talk about it because of the fact like I talked to his living relative, and he told me some things and stuff like that that hasn't been out in the open. But I just felt like, what I'm saying, Pac should have um, watched the company that he kept. I love Pac and this and that. I'm a Pac fan and this and that. But he was running with some crazy dudes, like some real scary dudes out here, some gangsters. So, he's maybe sometimes things got to happen to you in order for you to, change how you move. Betrayal gets your attention before anything. Something very serious like that where your life almost in and it gets you some type of clarity, gets you humble, um, just allow you to see that everybody isn't your friend. And after that, he just never um, was the same. But hit him up and all the sneak dissing and stuff like that, it was very justified and stuff like that. And they said like it's a rumor that Biggie was wearing his jewelry after the robbery because you never saw the cross medallion or you never saw a particular watch anymore or the rings, diamond rings that he had. So we just have to just take Pac word for it, and anybody else who was there. Stretch said something else. Stretch, who was actually there as well, said that Pac got shot because of what he did to his motherfucking self. You know what I'm saying? But that could mean anything because he didn't really elaborate from the video that I watched, and then he was just making it seem like Pac was just talking about don't shoot me in the head, man, and this and that. Just trying to make him seem like a bitch because he mad about what Pac said in the Vibe article that he was a bitch ass nigga and shit like that. Like nobody helped me and stuff while I was being robbed. So I could see some type of resentment, some animosity towards that. But like I said, it could be more to the story. But I'm just going with Pac said because Pac story never changes. He says exactly what happened every time he was asked about it. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't there. I was a baby, pretty much 6 years old. So I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but I can only go from the man who went through it, who took the bullets, and who went to the hospital and stuff like that. I can only agree with Pop. But but yeah, that's the end of the story, guys. Thank y'all who tuned in. Um, like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, 1804 Show Chapter 2. Um, if you want to donate to the Cash App, $, 1804 Show. And I'm out. Peace.